So, that is it. The final Premier League game of the season. Over and done with. Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1. A very respectable point to end what has overall been a great season for the club. Keeping our Premier League status for another season was absolutely vital at the start of the season, especially with everything we had to go through. And just to be in the Premier League again next season is everything. And what is important now is, of course, we build on this. And I have no doubt at all the club will definitely try and do that in the summer. But as for the game, I was very happy with the lineup. But as happy as I could be. Of course, there's no Danilo or Felipe. Unfortunately, they were both out with slight knocks. Bolly came in. Brennan came in, meaning we dropped a midfielder. And of course, Hennessy had to play in this one instead of Navas, who's all but certainly played his last game. It's a shame that there was no Jack Colback involved. Unfortunately, he was too injured to play again. And he was in training, so I had a feeling like he may have been involved. It's a shame he wasn't even involved at full time when there was obviously the players thanking the fans. But yeah, he's gone. Wonder where he'll go. I think a good Championship side would take Colback immediately. So I wish him the best of luck. In terms of the game, honestly, it weren't the best game, really, was it? It was quite a scrappy, uninteresting game in ways because not much was really happening. Wasn't really that important, really. I wanted to get a win. A second away win of the season would have been nice, but it wasn't to be. We got 8 points on the road all season, which is something we quite clearly need to improve next season. At least, though, we did improve the away form end of the season, as we can see. Even in these two defeats, they were a lot more spirited and hard fought than pretty much every other away game we had this season that we lost. Even drew, quite frankly. I think that's only a good thing, at least lose with dignity. But then we saw 2 points at Palace and Chelsea, so that's great. I've got to talk about the goal, of course. Morgan Gibbs-White named today as the club's player of the season, and rightly so. Absolute star boy he is. I think it's 8 assists this season for Morgan and 5 goals. I just love it. I've seen Morgan do it a few times this season. His assist against Leicester in January, where he uses the side of his foot and just gets so much power and direction on it. It is just a joy to watch that kind of pass. And Taiwo, when I watched this goal, man, I couldn't believe that is a proper striker's goal. It's a proper goal from a proper striker. And anyone can score a goal, but only a striker. And a striker like Taiwo can score that kind of goal. And it's a bit of a random comparison. That's the word I'm looking for. I remember in the 2014 World Cup, I think it was, or 2018 World Cup actually, Diego Costa scored a goal very similar for Spain in that 3-3 draw against Portugal, which was a mad game in that tournament. And he just spent so much time on the ball and twisted and turned 3 or 4 times, and it was such a cool, composed finish. And obviously I had no affiliation to either side in that game, but I remember thinking then that is a top quality goal. And that is exactly what Taiwo did here, arguably even better. Just took on 4 Palace defenders and finished so cool and composed. Brilliant, honestly. And I'm just so happy for him that he's sprung into life at the end of the season. Had to deal with these injuries that he's had. And if we can keep him fit next season, we've got a seriously good striker there. We need to get another striker in for sure. We can't just rely on Taiwo. We need someone else. But we've got a real asset there now. And, there was times this season where it looked like maybe he wasn't worth the money we paid for him. Only I was never turning on him. I was always, hopeful that he could come good. And I say come good, from the very start of the season, he scored goals for us against West Ham, against Liverpool, Fulham. That game that we lost, of course, he scored. But he was missing quite a few big chances as well. And he wasn't quite firing. And I'm just so happy that since he's come back from injury, he has been a monster. That's 5 goals in the final 4 games of the season for Owani, and I'm just delighted for him. Of course, looking at the stats, it's no surprise to see Forest heavily dominated in terms of possession. Not quite as much as previous games. Of course, Arsenal, I believe we had 18% of the ball. Same goes to Chelsea, something insane like that. But so long as we get the points, as well, that's all that matters. It would be nice to see us have more of the ball next season. Of course, 16 shots to 7 for Palace. Yeah, it wasn't the best game of football. It didn't particularly matter. It was just so nice to go into this match with no pressure. I said it in my preview. It was just a delight to actually see us just play with no pressure. We conceded, and I was like, disappointed, of course, but I wasn't thinking, oh my God, this is it. We're going to get relegated if like Everton score. No, it was great not to be involved and just watch the relegation unfold as it happened. Of course, I've got to mention their goal. I do need to see it back. It was a ball in. There was some claims that there was a handball involved. I didn't really see a handball, for my personal opinion. It wasn't the best goal to concede. Will Hughes, ex-Derby player, who's been great for Palace this season. I don't really have an opinion on it. We'll take a point. I thought overall it was a pretty evenly matched game, and don't really think either side thoroughly deserved to win it. I think a point was fair. That's pretty much all I can say. I was just nice to watch us play out the season in the way we did. Look at these W's here and these good points. We've had some real tough watches this season, and there have been times where I thought we were going to get relegated, Leicester away. I think everyone thought Cooper was gone and we were going to get relegated then, but no, we managed to keep going, which was absolutely vital, giving Cooper a new contract. And then, of course, we picked up until February, where we fell off a cliff again after that City draw. Strangely, that was the catalyst to an awful run of form, which is bizarre, quite frankly. I think that West Ham game was a real low, and not only points and performances dipped as well, and that was really disappointing. When we got to that Leeds away game, it was getting really tough. On top of the injuries, we can't not mention that. The injuries desperately didn't help us at the start of the season, not knowing each other. And, I think that's a key thing. I'd love to see the side that ended this season at the start of the season. Just how different would it have been, if we hadn't have had all those players injured as well? I really feel we would have been a lot higher than 16th. Of course, there's areas in this team that needs to be improved. Striker, we probably need another midfielder as well. We need to sort out the goalkeeper situation. Probably another winger kind of player as well. I don't want us to go mad. I don't think we're going to go too mental in the summer. We shouldn't. Let's keep that chemistry. If we haven't learned anything from this season, it's keeping chemistry and keeping this team together now and building from it, not changing it. It doesn't need to be changed. It should be changed in the important areas. It doesn't need to be overhauled at all. But I'm just thinking, if without those injuries and without the whole bonding element at the start of the season and just not knowing the Premier League, we came to this season in a completely different league, the hardest league in the world, with no real idea what to expect from a first-hand point of view. We all watched the Premier League, but we didn't really know what to expect until you actually throw into that situation of having to deal with the hardest league in the world. And I'm just so excited and curious now to see how it goes now that we've got that first year out of the way. That whole first season of Premier League football we've now got behind us, and we can learn from it. We can go into a Premier League season now kind of getting over the initial excitement of being back in the Premier League, but still very much enjoying it and being excited by it. But we now know what to expect. We're not just coming into it more from the club point of view, the players' point of view, just having to just learn on the job. And you're always going to keep learning and improving, but it's just going to be nice to have that experience already behind us and know how. And that's going to be vital, in my opinion, to how we do next season. And next season's next season. And, of course, I'll be covering across the summer all of our transfer rumours. I'm sure with us being Nottingham Forest, there's going to be plenty. So stay tuned for all that. And, of course, it'll be pre-season in July. So, we've got about probably 4 or 5 weeks without any games, and there'll be pre-season. It will be here before you know it, really, before we playing football again in any capacity. I'll be covering all of that as much as I can. Please, everyone, let me in the comments below your thoughts on this game, on the whole season, everything, what you want to see going into the summer and next season. I'll be very interested to see what you say. Please, though, hit the like button, subscribe to Rads if you're new. I'm nearly at 5k subscribers. It would mean everything to get there. The bigger I get this channel, obviously the more I've grown, which is great, but I can only continue to improve the channel the bigger I get as well, and it's just a nice achievement, isn't it? So please help me out, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, there's still going to be some videos coming in the next few weeks, don't worry about that. Thanks for watching, everyone. Up the Reds.